Your Honor, can we go back to position number 10, Ms. Pugh?
Okay. Yes, Mr. White.
Judge, I'm not sure where the state gets the fact that there was a minor present. There was no minor present. DB is they're referring to in the warrant is she is a 59-year-old woman from Florida. 7/2/64 is her date of birth. My client, Miss Pugh, and Miss Beasley came up from Florida to visit Miss Beasley's mother, and they were staying in her place. She left earlier, got locked out, was trying to wake up Miss Beasley by tapping on the window or knocking on the
That's not true.
Oh, wait. Whomever is speaking right now, I'll give you the opportunity, but we don't interrupt, okay?
Oh, I know. I'm trying to figure out how to work this.
Well, you're gonna have to figure it out without interrupting my courtroom. Go ahead, Mr. White, I apologize.
No worries, Judge. And accidentally broke the window. We're asking, since it's a criminal trespass charge, that she be allowed to sign her own bond. She's willing to pay for the window. She is on a limited income in Florida. She gets VA benefits, like at 50%. So it's a not a lot of money. So we're asking that she be allowed to sign her own bond.
Thank you. Ms. Nemini, you had something further?
Yes. So on the affidavit, it does say that the victim is a minor, but then there are a bunch of like date of births on the warrant as well. But it does state that the victim was a minor. However, the victim and the defendant have known each other for about a year. They used to reside together. The victim stated that she was at her mother's house when the incident occurred, and that's when defendant was inside the home and she got drunk and became irate. This is the state was able to talk to the victim. Got drunk and became irate, throwing beer cans that almost hit the 85-year-old mother. And then they stated that the victim tried to get defendant out, and eventually she left, but then returned at 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's when defendant rang the doorbell and she wasn't let in, but then she busted out the window. They don't know what she used to break the window, but they observed her breaking the window. And the victim stated that she wanted restitution, no further contact, stay away from the location as well. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nemini. Now, whoever the Zoom user is, if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to activate your camera.
Okay, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, hold on. First, wait.
All right.
First of all, okay, I understand that you want to talk to me, but I need to know who you are first. Who are you?
Okay. My name is Deidre. My name is Deidre Winay Beasley. My date of birth is 7.
Okay, I don't need your date of birth, Ms.
Okay.
Beasley, okay?
All right.
You can raise your right hand for me.
Yes, sir. All right.
Okay. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and are you pulled over?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, Ms. Beasley. Okay, now what would you like to tell the court?
Yes. So I went to Florida to do a barbecue for my mother. We left there and went to the casino. Miss Pugh started drinking at the casino, and it continued all the way to my mother's house. Miss Pugh was given the option to lay down and go to sleep. My mother even said that she would put her on a Greyhound to go home, or she could go down to my brother's house, which my brother lives about 10 houses down from my mother. She didn't want to do any of those things, so she chose to leave. And I have video and I have pictures. Miss Pugh left with the dog. We brought a dog with us. She left with the dog and the suitcase. I have text messages from her mother as well as her daughter, stating that she was at the church. The church is on Baker's Ferry Road.
Okay, just tell me about the damage to the
approximately
property.
45 minutes after then, the doorbell rang, and neither myself or my mother got up to answer it. And then you hear all this screaming and yelling in the background. She's calling my name. open the door, open the door. Then she climbs on the air condition, which is to my bedroom window, and starts to knock on that. And my mother instructed me to call the police, in which I did. Probably around about the third or fourth knock, and I have a voice call of that whole scenario because she had her phone on. It went to my voicemail. The window busted out. And so then my brother came down. The police came, and so she was arrested. She didn't even want to give up the dog. The police had to kind of tell her either she give me the dog or the dog was going to go to animal control. So that's how this thing transpired. She wasn't accidentally locked out. She was with me the whole time. We left my mother's house at approximately probably about 7 o'clock in the evening, headed to Murphy, North Carolina, to Harris. At about 10:30, we were driving back to my mother's house. So we arrived at my mother's house somewhere about 12:30 to 1 a.m., in which I had my brother on the phone the entire time because I did not feel safe.
All right, thank you, Ms. Beasley. We appreciate you being here this afternoon. Anything further, Mr. White or Ms. Nemini? Okay, if not, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. Note, further contact with Ms. Beasley, stay away from the Clemens Drive address, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Pugh.
Your Honor, I missed that bond amount. Can you repeat that for me, please?
Yes, that's no problem. 1,000 good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Next, we're gonna go to position number 6, Mr. Lorenzo Lewis.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, Judge. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Lewis, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005337C with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, the addition of a schedule of controlled substance. I believe he's on probation for that case. It was from September 24th, 2020, 3 years probation. Also appears to be on probation for theft by taken in Randolph County from June of 2016. It was 20 years probation. And then appears to be on probation out of Bibb County for exploit, inflict pain to deprive essential services to disabled person, elderly person, or residents. That is from June of 2017. 1 year confinement, 9 years probation. He has a battery family violence conviction, 2019, a willful obstruction, theft by taking conviction, 2014, forgery, 2002, deposit account fraud, 2001. And then the rest of his history goes upon 2000. He appears to also be on parole for theft by taking. The end date is September 23rd of this year.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
You're welcome.
Ms. Nemini?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on
35 cycles. Last arrest was June of 2020 for possession of a schedule of controlled substance, a probation violation, and a CWAC offense that was dismissed. The possession.
And she is the wife of Mr. Lorenzo. And the incident happened at their daughter's home. So the daughter went to the police August 15th to report an incident of assault. She stated that she was her mother was assaulted by Mr. Lorenzo Lewis. They got into a verbal dispute that erupted between the mother and the father at the daughter's home. And during the verbal dispute, it turned physical, where Mr. Lewis grabbed the mother by the hair as she was trying to get away from him, and he left the scene. And then when she grabbed the phone to call 911, that's when he pulled her down the stairs from her hair and grabbing her from behind. And he was gone from the scene by the time the police officers arrived. Given that he has a conviction for possession of drugs in 2020, I have a battery from 2019, family violence. The state is asking for a $3,000 shorty bond, no further contact with Miss Hattie Ellis, to stay away from the daughter's location, which is the 1524 Pineview Terrace. no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a family violence intervention program, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let's see if Miss Hattie Ellis is on the line and would like to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, Ms. McLeod.
Your Honor, my client is 56 old. He tells me that, well, he definitely denies that he grabbed his wife's hair. What he tells me is that his wife was drunk and she was angry with him and she broke his windshield and she also punctured his tires. He says he was the one who called the police because of this incident. He denied there was actually any fighting or any touching, anything like that. And he certainly denies that they're here, Your Honor. I understand that he's kind of, but he tells me they have been having so many issues. They no longer live together. He does not wish to have any contact with her, but he would like one-time police escort to go back to the location to retrieve his property. I would ask for signature bond for my client, but if the court is disinclined to give him a signature bond, I would ask so low as a bond as possible because he will not have much income, Your Honor, pay for bond. Nothing further.
Ms. McLeod, I believe the state is asking the stairway address to be from the daughter's house, the Pineview Terrace house. Does he have another location that he's going to need to go get his belongings from?
That was my understanding, Your Honor, based on what he tells me. It's a
Okay. All right, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. No further contact with
August 15th at 1. The victim in this case is Ms.
Stay away from the Pineview Terrace address and from the 2 Drive address. He can go back to the Morehouse Drive address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Lewis.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 2, Mr. Jeffrey Baker.
Good afternoon, Mr. Baker. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Mr. Baker, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0053333A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
A non-cycle, last arrest January of 2021 for a probation violation, a possession of cocaine conviction 2018, and then a DUI conviction 2006. And nothing further.
Ms. Tellerian?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident was alleged to have occurred on September 2nd of 2023 at 2. The defendant in this case punched the victim, Jason Baker, Jayson Baker, multiple times in the face. The parties are father and son. The victim is the son. The mother then advised that the defendant went after the victim, and the defendant kept telling, the victim kept telling the defendant to leave him alone. The victim ultimately used some scissors to stab the victim lightly to try to get away from him. The victim had some minor scratches. The defendant had minor scratches from that. The victim had injuries to the right side of his cheek and swelling and scratches to the right cheek. Our office did make contact with the wife, Mrs. Vivian Baker. She said that her and the defendant have been married for 31 years and they all reside together at the aforementioned address. She stated that the defendant and her son do have a domestic violence history and the police have been called in the past. She stated that her son has been verbally abusive and spazzes out going into threat mode. She stated that the defendant did not hit her son repeatedly. He hit him once in the face due to the victim grabbing the scissors. My office then spoke with the victim, who stated his cell phone is not on. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant and stated he is afraid of his father. The victim stated that they do have a DV history, and the defendant has been violent with him in the past. The victim stated he did cut his father with the scissors, but it was by accident and in self-defense. The victim stated that he wants no contact and to stay away from the residence, and that he will be on the Zoom. We're asking for a $3,000 surety, no further contact with the victim, 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away. I also believe that the mother may be on the Zoom, so we're asking for the court to sound for the victim, and if you're so inclined, the mother, Mrs. Vivian Baker. Thank you.
Okay, if Mr. Jason Baker or Mrs. Baker would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I see. Is this Mrs. Baker speaking? Okay, you're gonna have to unmute yourself, ma'am.
My bad. Can you guys hear me now?
Okay, and this is Jason Baker, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Can you activate your camera, Mr. Baker?
No, sir. I don't have a camera on this app.
Okay, I'm gonna have to see you on camera, so I know who you are, Mr. Baker. If you have a device that where you can be on camera, I'm happy to hear from you.
All right, I can. Let me try it real quick on this phone.
Okay, and Mrs. Baker, there should be something at the bottom of your screen that says unmute. So I'm happy to hear from you also if you can unmute yourself.
Okay, I just did it.
Okay, there you go. Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court?
Well, on the day of the incident, what I tried to express to the police officer, my husband didn't multiply hit my son. He hit him because he was trying to grab knives out of the drawer, which is his MO. Whenever he gets into an altercation with us, he'll grab a knife or something to threaten us with. In this particular case,
this time I didn't grab the
Jason,
knife.
Jason, hold on, Jason. Listen,
Yes, sir. Sorry.
I'm happy to hear from you, but you're not going to interrupt your mother, or you're not going to interrupt anybody else. Okay, I will hear from you. I'll hear from you in turn, sir. Okay, go ahead, Mrs. Baker.
In this particular case, this is an incident that has just been mounting up. We had our son leave the house because of his disrespect and unruliness to us. So we asked him to leave. He was in a situation where I felt that it was not safe for him. So I asked my husband if it was okay for him to come back home. He agreed out of compassion for our son not having a place to stay, but only if he respected us and did chores in the home, picked up after himself, so to speak. So we were finding that was not happening consistently, and he was not doing that, and he was still he would still have some disrespectful things to say to us, remarks that was very foul and things like that. And we talked to him about it. And my husband just felt really disrespected for some of the things that our son had said and done, which I tried to talk to my son, hey, you need to apologize to your dad for your behavior and all the things like that. But this particular day, my husband felt very disrespected because he asked him to pick up behind himself. So when we got home, my husband was showing me his room and the kitchen. Now, granted, my son didn't say anything back, but he turned around as if he was going to say something and as if he was going to go into the drawer and grab something. And when he got ready to go into the drawer, the kitchen drawer where the utensils are, and which we put the I suggested that my husband put the knives away because our son has a tendency to grab a knife. So when he feels like he wants to threaten us. And so we didn't have any knives in the drawer. The only thing my son got ready to grab was scissors. So I tried to stop him. My husband tried to stop him. And that's when my husband hit him in the face one time, not multiple times. Son, and I just thought that when my husband was fuming at the time, so I thought, well, he's on edge because it's a buildup of things. And he didn't, he wasn't trying to hurt my son. He just wanted to confront him, but he confronted him aggressively, so to speak. So that's how it all happened. And my son, feeling like my husband is coming after him, he grabbed the scissors. I guess, and that's when he started swinging at my husband and outside, and my husband got cut on the hand and he fell. And it's unfortunate. My husband, Judge, has been a very good father to our son, sacrificed everything for our son as best he could. So he's not been a violent man to our son. He's not been, unless he's had to confront him, on occasion about some things, because our son can be very thuggish to us, and very disrespectful. And so my husband has had to confront him on those occasions. But my husband is not a violent man. He's not a man that tries to fight our son or anything. In fact, he has been most accommodating where I've had to, because he didn't want to address him in a violent way. So for the most part, he just got to a point where it's just a build up over time. And I've asked my son to just be more respectful. We both asked him that, so
how old is
I'm sorry.
Jason? How old is Jason?
25.
He's 25. Is he still living at the Dawn Lane address?
Yes, we asked him, both of us, we allow him to move back in because of his situation where he was not a good environment. So we thought he'd be safe coming back home. And under the conditions that he be respectful and he do chores around the house, because we knew he wasn't working, at the time. And so, we allowed him to come back home.
Okay.
So
thank you.
This is my.
I think I understand.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I think I understand. We thank you for you being here this afternoon. Now, Jason, if you want to address the court, you have to again activate your camera.
Okay, my camera is not working.
I saw you just a moment ago.
Oh, it popped up. Hold on. I'm not on my phone. Here we go. It's starting again.
Okay, there you are.
Yeah.
Can you listen to me, Jason. Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Jason, it looks like he's frozen. Ms. Jenks,
Yes, Judge.
I'm going to give Mr. Baker a signature bond if you want to address what I need. What I was wanting to get out of Jason is he appears to still be in that home. I don't think it's a good idea for them to be in that home together right now. But if he is lawfully and legally in the home, then there's nothing that I can do to keep him out unless his parents do something down the road.
Well, that's the issue, Judge. The house is rented right now. Mr. Baker, Jeffrey Baker, my client, has stated to me, and actually Jeffrey Baker is the leaseholder with his wife Vivian as the second, person on the lease. Their 25-year-old son, who again, I mean, you heard a lot from his mom, but there's even more from that Mr. Baker has said to me in terms of this history of this alleged victim, their son, being not just disrespectful, I mean, violent towards both of them, threatening them, terrorizing them was the language that the father used, and doing drugs both over the counter, drugs that are not prescribed to him, and then other drugs. So they did open up their hearts to allow him to come back for the 2 weeks, is what my client tells me. However, this transpired. So I'm not sure what to do in terms of the living situation, because again, my client is the leaseholder on this lease for the rented house that they've been in for some time. And, he stated to me that he may have a friend that he could live with, but outside of that, he's got no family. He's got a brother that's out of state. And when I mentioned that to you, but I know that he needs to be in Atlanta. He works here in Atlanta, Judge. He's a graduate from Southern University out of Baton Rouge in Louisiana. He's got 4 years of college in marketing and management. He is a subcontractor with multiple contracts related to the hospitality management industry, Judge. So
I see what you're
saying in terms of the living situation.
So what I'm going, I have no jurisdiction over Mr. Jason Baker, and if he was properly living at that address, they're going to have to evict him. I'm going to allow Jeffrey Baker to go back to his home only if Jason Baker is not there.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you, Judge. Yep.
So, and I'll just say this to both the Bakers: you all have to, if you don't feel safe in your house, and that's because of your son, then you all have to, you have a decision to make. I would not be not safe in my own house because of someone else, but because you allowed your son to be there, he has a right to be there at the present time. So it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Jason Baker. No contact means no contact whatsoever. Okay, so while this is pending, you can have no contact, Jeffrey Baker, with your son, Jason Baker. If Jason Baker is at the home, then necessarily Jeffrey Baker cannot be there. But I will allow a one-time escort with law enforcement for either to retrieve belongings or to see that Jeffrey or that Jason Baker is no longer at the Ladon Lane address. And if he's not there, then Jeffrey Baker can stay there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Was all that clear, Ms. Jenks?
Yes, thank you so much, Judge.
All right, so Mr. and Ms. Baker, good luck to both of you.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.